Okay, I think that we're live here. Perfect. Yeah, you'll have to bear with me. This is the first time using YouTube streaming directly, but hi, I'm back after a few months of wonderful, not great COVIDness, but we're back to it now, at least. So I'm going to be consolidating my streaming, as you may have saw, onto YouTube. I think it will just actually work out better. Twitch actually seems to be way too focused on let's make money, and that's not really what I'm here for. I'm here to help all of you to learn new things about modular. So, on that note, especially of learning new things, we have a very new thing. It's Odessa. I just got this. It literally came in the mail today. And all I have done with it is turn it on. That's it. So we're going to look at this from the ground, literally the ground up. I'll go through the manual and bits and pieces as we go, but I'm going to try to not look at the manual as much as possible. That's kind of the method I like to use for modules like this that have quite a lot of knobs and stuff like that. It's kind of more fun to just play around and see what you get before you even understand what you're doing, I think. So let's do that. I mean, the very first thing we got to do before we do anything else is does have coarse and fine tuning. So let's get this output and let's at least get it tuned. I have a different case setup than I had last time, so things are going to get a little interesting in terms of cable length and whatnot, but I've got the other half of my case actually over here on my right, and this one is over here on my left, so hopefully it'll make it a little easier for you all to see, at least. That's the goal. So we need an output, right? So since this is an additive synth, or voice rather, this Odessa, it's got like the whole odd and even partials thing going on. So I think let's just stick with the fundamental for now. I think that would probably be how you'd tune this. I'm just sending it over into a mult so that we can both hear it and tune it. Oh, I'm going to need longer cables for sure if I'm doing this particular way. Luckily, I got really long ones. So, tuner. And I don't need a long cable for this. We'll get this into the output. Make sure I don't blast everyone's eardrums out. Let's see. There's some reverb to make it sound a little bit more than just a normal pitch. We'll put a sequence into this in a bit. We'll see where that takes us. But, yep, that's definitely coarse tune. That's definitely fine tuned. So let's get a middling kind of C here. Gonna be a touchy one. All right, that's close enough. Okay, we're tuned. Let's see where we go from here. I'm curious about the difference between the odd partials and the even partials. You can hear the subtle difference, but let's see what else we can do here. So we've got multiple different FM inputs. We've got density, spread, warp, tension. These are the things that we're definitely going to have to look at. And bank, which is interesting. Power density spectrum. Now that's a fun name. Oh, this is harmonic factor. Okay. So, oh yes, and then I also have the Hell, which is the add-on, which is a great name for it. This lets you actually make this into it's not really polyphonic, but you can at least control each of the individual voices that Odessa supposedly has, which are supposedly in 1 voice mode right now. So let's do 5 voice mode, because why not? So let's get the manual now and just have a brief look. Right. We know that we can do pitch. That's great. Oops. I gotta get over so I can scroll this. Coarse and fine's already been taken care of, and we're not gonna modulate it from the FM inputs yet. Big central partial knob limits the spectrum of the signal to a specific number of harmonic partials from 1 to 512 per voice. This sort of makes sense. And you can control it using CV. Yeah, okay. Let's look at what this says about spectral tilt. How quickly the amplitudes of consecutive partials decrease with frequency. Well, that's not clear, but let's see. Spectral tilt is this nice red knob here. Oh, okay. You can actually see sort of more visually what it's doing, I guess. Ooh. That already sounds good. And I've barely even done anything to it. So, sounds like tension is almost a detune. Oh, it rings nicely. That's cool. No, spread is a detune. That's definitely. Interesting. Okay. Well, let's leave spread for now. So, yeah, did we establish what tension was exactly? I don't think it was in the list. No, that was partials. So we did partials, spectrum, or spectral tilt. The middle position partials decrease slowly, similar to spectral or saw wave. Maximum position, the amplitude spectrum is very flat. Okay. 3 knobs near the right edge of the panel control a comb-like frequency response that's imposed on the spectrum. So that must be warp density and peaking. Yeah, okay, so this will be like a comb filter style thing. So, I don't know, let's see what we get. Might have to... Oh yeah, okay, this is actually kind of nice. You can watch the LEDs for like to sort of understand what impact it's having, I guess. Let's see. Yeah, it's sort of flickering through things. Interesting. That's peaking at max is pretty crazy. By the way, do speak up if the audio isn't working. I'm double checking, but things seem to be okay, so. Okay, let's turn peaking back down here again. Turn this up a bit. Now that was just the even partials. I don't know. Oh, odd partials is different now. Fundamental is probably not the output you want all the time, because that's just going to be the root note, I suspect, but... Admittedly, I'm not like totally up on additive synthesis, but that's why I'm just playing around. See what kind of interesting sounds we can get out of this. Oh, these are CV sliders. Okay, yeah. I need to understand this bank and harmonic factor thing, so let's see what that is. It mentioned it's very solid density. The warp is uniformity of comb response. Okay. Peaking is the shape of the comb response. Sure, that makes sense. Tension determines whether the sinusoidal particles generated by Odessa adhere to a harmonic pattern where frequencies are strictly integer multiples of the fundamental frequency. Okay, I think I recall about this, because like, if tension is 0, tension set sharp partials are more spread apart, so the frequencies increase more quickly than with a linear law. Just that the flat below middle partials are more condensed, the frequencies increase slowly, create a dense non-harmonic cluster that resembles noise. You know, you can hear it sort of detuning, but this one's going to take some Googling, I think, and some fidgeting. Two main outputs since I signal, right? Odd partials and even partials. Fundamental, right? Simple signal with a fundamental frequency, which you don't really want. Oh, there's jumpers on this module. I didn't even notice. Okay. Won't be messing around with those right now. Two knobs at the top, together with their associated CV inputs, find banks of partials which address the distribution of spectral components between the odd partials and even partials outputs. Okay, when it's set to 0, both sides offer the same full signal. Set to +1, each output offers the same fundamental plus its even and odd overtones, respectively. Different lengths. Odd and even sequences of partials are split between the two jacks. Okay, weird. Interesting. Okay, so... Oh, I'm not even on 0. Hold on. That was bank -8. This is bank 0 now. Okay. Additionally, all partials except the fundamental are frequency scaled by an integer factor from simple fractions to multiples selected by harmonic factor, which we have turned way up right now. But Odessa is capable of delivering 1, 3, or 5 stacked voices of a synthesized signal. Selectable at the voices button, which we already did. 3 or 5 voices, then the spread knob does something. Does what? Degree of symmetric detuning. Yeah, that would make sense. Because that's definitely detuning. Hey, Alpha Stare. Good to see you again. It's been a long, long time. Or it feels like it anyway. Oh yeah? Yeah, this is the first time, literally the first time touching it for me right out of the box, so I'm only going off the demos I've seen. And even then, I don't know what they were doing in them, just that it sounded good, so but thanks. Right. Hey, thanks, Inverted Pups. It's good to see you here as well. Hopefully I will sort out when I'm going to be streaming again on a more regular basis and get something that works for you all in the EU. Wow. Pure lockdown since March 9th. Gross. That would suck. That would really suck. Holy cow. Alright, this is gonna need some study, I think. But let's just mess around with it and see what we can make this thing do. First things first is that we will not need the tuner anymore because it's tuned. And I'm not going to just straight output it. We're gonna go through VCA, make a little voice out of it. I'm not sure if I would want to like mix the odd and even partials. I don't know. Let's assume no for now. And just get this going with some kind of sequence of some sort. Oh, geez. Furloughed too. Brutal. That definitely sucks. I'm sorry. Okay, CV. Some kind of envelope. Be working over here for a sec. Just use some sort of sequence out of vector. Oops, I need a pitch, so that's gonna have to be a long cable. And I think pitch goes into pitch CV volt per octave. Easy enough. Okay. Let's see what kind of sequence we can make here. Don't remember what I've got in here. I think it was left over from my little horror thing that I did the other day. So let's generate something new. What are we in here? We're in C minor. Sure, works for me. Let's see. I think that it's also set to be triggered, so I need to set it to a clock speed. Okay, no reverb for the moment. Slow this down a bit. Whoa. No, you can be down an octave, that'd be fine. Okay. So we got something going. Let's see what we can do to mess with this sound. Now we're in 5 voice mode, okay. Whoa, you can really detune it with 5 voices. Interesting, sounds like whistling. think by turning up the bank, so I should be isolating which frequencies are coming out on the even versus odd side, I think. Yeah. Oh, comb filters. He does tend to be everywhere, it's true. Interesting. This, in some ways, because this is additive synth, the big knob here, which changes, I think, the number of partials that are sent, it acts like a filter, basically. Oh yeah, I think, as I was saying a bit earlier, this is going to require a lot more study, I think. But like, I'm really partial to the sound of sine waves, so combining sine waves in different ways sounds good to me. So, and then the fundamental should just be, yeah, it's just a sine wave this whole time. Just put the reverb back on. Even that is pretty cool. That's already not a sound that I can at least feel like I can easily get out of any of the other current oscillators that I have. You know, well, that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? We know it's in Odessa. I mean, like, it's like clouds. It's pretty distinct sound a lot of the time. Rings, it's a pretty distinct sound a lot of the time, but you know what? If it sounds good, whatever. Okay, just because this is an interesting sound, I want to mess with one other thing that I can't see, that you can't see up here. But so in some of what I've been sort of thinking about as we've gone through all these COVID times is what I want to do with this rack and also where I want this stream to go. But one of the things is that I'm trying to move my effects out to pedals, except for really, really unique ones like Rainmaker down here. So I got myself an RV500 Boss pedal. I don't know if you've seen it. Oh, thanks, Mr. Dirty. Or wait. And be dirty. Yeah, it does sound nice with the reverb, but so we're gonna put this through the Mega Reverb, which is the Boss RV500. If you haven't seen this pedal, holy cow, it's insane. Would you ever like to have one pedal that can allow you to layer a delay and a reverb and then a delay and a reverb? Because you can do that, which is crazy. So some of what I did on that last video that I put out with the horror thing, I was using that pedal. So no worries, no worries. I appreciate you dropping by anyway. It's good to see from a bunch of people that I recognize again. Okay, so let's do this. I'm gonna drop it off screen here. Oh, into the pedal and then come back from that. Oh, come on. Get in there. And I'll do it in stereo too, because that's always nice. Okay. If my cables are long enough anyway. I've got this new streaming setup that's very confusing. Oh, not long enough. The reason to move to pedals is twofold. Yeah, freeing up space, definitely. And I was doing a lot of research over the time with all the COVID stuff, and the one sort of, I don't want to call it realization, but like the conclusion that I came to is that especially in reverb, there's not really that many great Eurorack reverbs. And on top of that, like, I wouldn't modulate a reverb that much, to be honest. I don't really know. So definitely with the reverb pedals. And then there is a lot of unique guitar effects that don't exist in Eurorack. Like I really want to get a Chase Bliss mood, for instance. Like that's not in Eurorack really, so. Okay, let's get some longer cables here. Make this happen. Oh no. Oh, that's a tangled mess. Okay. This is what happens when you haven't touched all this in a very long time. Metasonics R56. Pedal, I assume? Okay, long cables. Here we go. Ooh. Before we clip everything into the sun right now. Let's just get the raw signal out of this. Eurorack, okay. I don't think I've heard of it. Oh, interesting. I think I actually need to go into a mono. There we go. Okay, without all the reverb. Still clipping a bit. I'm still getting used to gain staging into these pedals, but let's see what else we can do with this. Let's get another different patch going here. Not shimmer. Not attenuating it in this case. I do have the ability to do that up here, but the RV500 seems to be able to take raw, modular level stuff and handle it just fine, actually, which is nice. So, which is interesting because I used to have a long time ago. I used to have a Big Sky, and it definitely couldn't. Like, the thing would get overloaded in no time. Alright, here we go. Just do a nice long haul reverb. And let's add some more effects to it. Okay, well that's cool. Oh, you mean they did a live stream for that's Colin? What's his face? Who was doing all those lockdown streams, right? I'm sure they could make people like that. I'm sure can make this sound nothing like Odessa. I am not that good at modular. Okay, let's see how else we can. Maybe if we actually modulate some of its parameters. Let's see what we can do here. So, looks like we're not, yeah, I need to turn this up to get more. Oh, there's that crazy one. I feel like if you modulated bank with something random, more random than that. World Wave. I gotta check out that Discord. Cool. Yeah, I totally did not see that, so. I think I need to. Let's try this on warp. It gets a little noisy. Not exactly ambient anymore, but it's interesting. Undercover scenesters, I like it. Ooh, that's interesting. Brassy sound in there. Oh yeah, what did I leave on here? It's got some, this pedal has some bizarre different settings you can put on one of the controls. Yeah, I noticed on the back of Odessa, I think it has a connector for Lipsk. Is that how you pronounce it, I'm guessing? Which I haven't even looked into that to begin to understand what that does. Ah, cool, Alphas there. I'll have to have a look. Okay, so it lets you use 8 mutes to manually or CV mute banks of partials. Okay. I could see how that would be interesting. Okay, so I'm really curious to try Hell because I wanted this to be semi-polyphonic and I was curious about how that would work. So I need to get a sequence going on Vector that's chords. So I think I might have one here already in part 5 or 6. Let's see. Yep, it's going like way faster than I would ever want it to go. Or maybe not. Yeah, here we go. So there's a bunch of random chords, and I think I have all the outputs assigned, so. I suppose well, can it be truly polyphonic? Because, I mean, I guess unless you can assign any, like, one voice to even partials and one voice to odd partials, I guess if you sequenced it that way, you could get it to be, like, I guess that would be paraphonic, right? But maybe not, I don't know. Okay, well, let's see if we can do this. I got the chord set up. I need to make sure that it's outputting to the right places. We're part 5, right? Yeah. So I got part 5 voice 1, but I also need part 5 voice 2. Okay, so that's pitch 5 and 6. I also need pitch 4 to be part 5 voice 3, sure. Just to make things confusing. Right, paraphonic, yeah. Okay, so let's, we'll keep the gate. I think I had a gate from part 5 in here somewhere, didn't I? Yeah, part 5, voice 1's gate is here. Okay, so now I need 3 separate pitch CVs to do this, right? Oh, this is kind of creepy sounding. I like it. Angry bumblebee. Thanks, Ryan. The pedal is the RV500, the Boss RV500. It is really, really, really powerful. So, like, you can stack two. You can stack a delay and a reverb, and then in parallel or in series to another delay and reverb, or you could stack 4 reverbs on top of each other if you want, in parallel or in series, and like lots of different interesting reverb types. Yeah, it's really cool. Okay, so pitches. Let's see what this does. So you need to set the root. I guess it's 5 voices, so that would make sense. So which one did I set to part 1? Because that should probably be the root. That was pitch 5, okay. Here we go. Wow, it's already getting that way, so that's cool. All right, and then the next part was 6. We'll make this into the 3 voice mode again. Oof. Something doesn't sound right, but we'll troubleshoot in a sec. Why does this not sound right? Let's see what we're doing here. 4, 5, and 6. So pitch 4 is part 5, voice 3, and then voice 1, and then voice 2. Let's see. What will it... Whoa, you don't need to go that fast. That's okay, that's okay. All right, let's just see if we can get a decent sounding chord out of this. I'm gonna switch this to a length of 1. Okay. It's supposed to be a C major, I think. Turn the reverb off for a minute. Yeah, so I replaced the CSL I had with this because the CSL was, I don't know, I don't seem to gel with the way it works for some reason. I couldn't get myself to get any good sounds out of it. Okay. Gotta remember how to do this. There we go. Okay, so you can make chords. That's cool. I mean, I detuned it, so that was why it sounded a little strange, but... Yes, yes. Spread is definitely akin to detune. Okay, so now the question is, so with enough VCAs and envelopes, you could actually play this, well, no, because yeah, it would be paraphonically, as someone said. That's about the closest you could get. But I am kind of curious if I run two sequences in the same key, gate them slightly differently, what kind of interestingness we could get out of this. So let's try that. Take the third voice out and just have, well, yeah, okay, for now we'll take the third voice out. So let's go back to what we had before. So the root can be from that first sequence. Oh, like, can you play, you could play a bass line like underlying. Let's try this. Okay, so like part 2, which is the next part over. Make sure you can see what I'm doing. Part 2, we'll take this down. It's restarting at a weird rate here. Hang on. This is 1/8 at all. I'm just gonna take the modulation of density out so I can hear what this is doing properly. Oh, did I accidentally set it back to, no. That's red mode. It's green mode. That's orange mode. It's weird. I think I screwed up something with the pitch. It's not, I don't think it's sending because it's not doing anything. Let's see. Pitch 2 is coming out for part 2. Low register bass will likely make better use of Odessa anyway, as the module will be able to activate more partials. Fair, that does actually make sense, so that's a good point. So let me just switch part 1 here. Just trying to hear that second voice. Okay, you can hear it, it's there. Hey Forrestine, yeah. Moving my stuff onto YouTube just because it feels like a better fit. I think Twitch was a little too focused on let's find ways to make money, and I really don't particularly actually care about that. It's more about hanging out with all you people and learning and teaching people stuff, and yeah, so, and then it helps me consolidate everything in one place so no one misses anything. So yeah. Okay, well this is already interesting. I'm gonna just... That's the pedal again. I believe that you can sync the delay, but I just haven't really done it yet. At the very least, it has MIDI, so worst case I could just MIDI out from Vector and ooh, that's cool. Okay, let's put this modulation of density back in again. Shit. Not sure how well it actually works on that movement. I noticed there's a CV in for partials direct. Oh, that's partials, that's tension, okay. Put it into spread and be really crazy. Oh, that has an interesting effect. It's almost almost like a velocity or something like that, putting it into tilt. Feels like it dampens some of the notes, and then, well, of course it's changing where the partials are at, so that's cool. Odessa automatically deactivates partials that would be above 21 kHz and applies a volume normalization to count. I'm guessing the purpose of that is to prevent you from blowing out your speakers, kind of thing. Yeah, just take out. There we go. I was wondering why it was very mono. Okay, or going near silent when using underneath. Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense. I guess this is designed to, I guess, remove some of the difficulties from additive synthesis, I suppose, by sort of guiding you in the right direction. Okay, what else should we modulate here? I'm curious about using the odd and even partial outs. Like, what happens if we take the odd partials and give them a different gate pattern or something? Let's see what that does. Where should we put them? Let's just put it straight in for now, and I'm curious what this will sound like. I think it... Let's see. Oh, helps if I don't hook it up to the linear FM. Wow! That's loud. Gain. Don't need that much gain. So... Wow, you definitely know a lot more about Odessa than I do. You need to run a stream so I can watch it and learn. This is interesting. What if we were to... Just gonna do a quick LFO pan and see if we can get something cool out of this. Why are we getting... Oh, because this is a... Right. Don't think stages can do a bipolar LFO. Tetrapad can. Let's get a wave of some kind going here. There we go. Let's just sync it to something, because that'll sound cool. Oh, my cables are not in a good position anymore. Come on, where's my external clock? There we go. I agree, Forrestine. That almost went over my head too. It's got a nice effect of sending the odd partials out and panning them back and forth. But let's give it a different envelope shape. See what we can get out of that. So we'll need we'll stick with the same gate, I guess, for now. I think there's a better way to do this in stages than what I'm about to do, but we're gonna do it. Oh, that was not what I meant to do. It was supposed to be this one. Switch the gate into multiple spots. Take that envelope. Into a new CV. Okay, so the LFO needs to be a little bit much, but oh, this is in a loop. Oops. I know what the answer is, to have something else moderate the time and level of the envelope. Like another LFO. Oh, I can use a way shorter cable here. Avoiding having to choose a particular type of filter to include in the module, set the size of the problem and avoid coloring the sound. Well, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, that's interesting enough. So maybe we can modulate the bank and stuff now, because that'll send the sounds into different sides of this pretty much. Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm doing here. Alpha is just like, let's play with it and see, and then I'll read the manual in more detail later and see if I can understand what's going on. But all right, so modulation. Let's just take something. I'm running out of long cables, so I gotta start using my shorter ones. Maybe it'd be better in the harmonic factor. Pretty subtle. How to make my vector go into mute mode. I can't remember. Crap. Where was this streamed on? Is it somewhere that I can see it? Because it sounds like it would be educational. That's a weird effect. Oh, in the moment. A Discord stream. Okay. I didn't even know you could do that on Discord. Other than like for video games, I didn't think you could do it with like all this stuff. Oh. this is interesting. I don't understand why, but I swear half the time when I generate patterns, they just turn out sounding creepy. Like, more creepy than they should be for just having just been in a minor key and that's it. Yeah, good to know. Alright, I'm definitely going to have to join that the next time he's got the link around. Yeah, these sorts of sounds that I'm getting out of it right now, I mean, maybe they're simple, but they're actually a kind of sound that I've been searching for a way of making with what I've had, but unsuccessfully. Just like a slightly more complex sine wave. So this is nice. This is really what I was looking for in a complex module. Ominous synthesizers are a thing. Yeah, right. Oh, that's handy. That is handy, Alpha. That's one thing I gotta figure out how to resurrect on this stream, is if I can get another bot going where you guys can add your own, or send CV into the system, but it's a lot harder on YouTube than it is on Twitch, unfortunately, but then again, not a lot of people were using it either, so I don't know. I kind of debate whether I will or not. We'll see. My plan is to kind of emphasize these streams being more just like hanging out, messing around with stuff, rather than like actively trying to teach anyone anything or stuff like that. And then I'm going to actually get back into doing some patch tutorials and stuff like that that are really designed for that. Because a lot of people on the previous streams were saying, well, you got this, this, and this, and this wrong. And I was kind of being like, well, my intention wasn't to be the expert source in this case. It was just to be like, hey, this is cool, look at this. So I think people were getting confused, and hopefully this will clear things up at least a little bit. Anyway, this is really nice. I wonder how I can expand on it. I could throw another voice or another sequence into another voice here, or at least another pitch into another voice. Let's just see. I might as well continue with the vector. We got part 3 here still, that should be not really doing much right now. Let's give this a... Whoa. Yeah, that's exactly the kind of the plan I have for this. Is I also don't really want to cater to those people who are like, you should be the expert in everything whenever you make videos, because then no one should be making videos other than the manufacturer, because they're the only ones who really know. And even then, sometimes they don't even understand what some of the things are that people are doing with their modules. Yeah, right? Exactly. Don't mind me, I'm just thinking aloud while I figure this out. Totally. Like, Yeah. Oh well, I mean, really what I'm as long as I'm enjoying what I'm doing and if other people enjoy it, great, and if no one listens, whatever. This gives me an excuse to do more music stuff, so. But yeah, I wonder if there's other things I could do to the bot, because it was tough with the CV setup, because yeah, getting people to understand what was going on and being able to have somewhere on the screen where it was and what it's influencing, that was kind of a bit awkward. So I don't know, maybe I'll change it to like a gate. You can send it a gate sequence or something. I don't know. I want to try this with a weird, let's try something that's not, let's do a 3-5-7 pattern and see. I'm actually kind of astounded that the large majority of it, like, I mean, if I, that's with no effects, still quite complex from one module, so I'm very happy about this. But of course, it is better with the effects. Really, somebody was saying I don't know why this works. That's great, I love it. And I completely agree with you that some of the best things, like, I mean, in the video that I just released, the one with the horror drone thing, that started out as me actually trying to build up something to do a little tutorial on, like, here's how you would build an arpeggiator from a bunch of simpler modules and things like that. But then once I started arpeggiating the thing at audio rate and sending it through a comb filter, there was all sorts of cool sounds, and I'm just like, I don't understand, but this is great. Yeah. Is this LFO still going? Oh yeah, okay. The little ticks when it really maxes out on spectral tilt makes me think of what's his face's streams, that other ambient guy who is just like prolific. Oh, I can't remember, but yeah, he does a lot of Odessa stuff, and it sounds like him. Thanks, yeah, that was fun to make. I enjoyed that one. Okay, so what else can I do with this? We're in 3-voice mode. So as far as I understand, the inputs to Hell are supposed to be quantized, but just to like chromatic. What if I just take another marbles output and send it to another voice? I don't know what this will do, but... Or, I mean, even this doesn't really stack anything more, I guess, if you put it in another voice mode, but... I don't think we're even quantized, are we? Oh, we are. Probably to some scale that doesn't make sense. Haven't touched this, haven't touched marbles in a while, obviously. It's kind of interesting. I would have expected a difference in timbre between 3 and 5 voices. I would have figured it would have, would do like other synths I know do, and sort of a stacking. And if you have 5 voices, you have 5 of one. If you have 3 voices, you have like some less number of, but stacked on top of each other. But it doesn't seem to make any actual difference. So interesting. I'm sure the the manual would tell me more about that, which I will read. Let's switch this up a bit. Apparently I've muted a step. Or there's no gate. Ah, okay. Well. Wonder what else we could complement this with. I don't even know. I wonder how this sounds with rings. Might as well see. Sure, we'll take a gate here. Just set up rings really simply. Just because I'm curious what it sounds like. Does not need to be that loud, that's for sure. Probably not this mode. Let's give it some pattern. I don't even know what patch 4 is. Let's see. Oh, right, I already set that to some weird... right, part 4 should just be part 4. Okay. And let's make something. Whoa. It's probably because it's being gated by, yeah, the wrong one. Let's see. Oh, that's why it's generating some weird slides. It's in acid mode. Oh, thanks. I'm glad to hear. I'm glad to hear. This would really, I think, need like a delay or something, just if it was going to fit in to all this. Let's put it through Rainmaker. I think I'm going to have to clock, but that's okay. Stack cable for that. Oh, it's getting busy in here. Okay. Can barely see Rainmaker, but I'm just clocking it. Let's see if we can get anything interesting in it. Let's see, I've got maybe a good preset for this. Where is it? Not that. This has possibilities. Could do pre. This makes a good bass. Let's see if I can make this fit in here. Just got this weird slide going on that I gotta get rid of. Still, okay, let's figure out where this slide is coming from. Oh, okay. Oh, because we're Berlin 2. If we generate this again. Oh, that's one really out of place note. I don't think the sequence necessarily matches, but it's... There's one note. It's that B flat 3 that's at least in here that is quite nice. So let's see. I'm gonna make this a shorter length. It doesn't need to be a full 16. Why is that not picking up the new pitch? It's weird. There. Obviously not that, but... Maybe. Yeah, that's maybe. Maybe at a slower rate. Half triplets, how about that? Oh, what did I just do? Oh no. I did not need what you just did. What the heck? What did I just reset? Damn. Alright, we'll have to see if I can pick another set of notes that works well here. It's not quite right. I wonder if my rings is a little bit out of tune. Probably isn't, but... I generally really like the vector sequencer. It's really good for coming up with ideas. There's still a few little minor bugs in it every so often, which can get a little bit annoying. But generally, yeah, it's really nice, especially like the chance functionality and things like that. Oh, cool. That's really awesome to hear. I'm glad that those were helpful. And yes, the screen is really, really nice. And a lot of the bugs that I'm actually talking about I think have been resolved. I just haven't gotten the chance to actually update the firmware on it yet. So. But there's been a few firmware updates since the last time I looked at this. So. Something about this, it doesn't sound right. I'm really wondering if rings is out of tune. I'm fairly certain the other rings I have here is in tune. So let me switch. And we'll try this again. Let's get the right settings here. Sounds like maybe it's even more out of tune. Oh, tuning rings is the bane of my existence. I really hate doing it. That's actually good. Maybe. Still thinking might be out of tune, but let me, since I don't think we're actually, yeah, don't really need Rainmaker at this point. It wasn't really doing us any good. Thanks, Cameron. We'll drop this through QPass. See if we can get some nice resonance out of it with the Smile Pass output and a longer cable. Oh my goodness, a really long cable, okay. Maybe if I can untangle it. Come on. There we go. Okay. Smile Pass. Let's do band pass actually. Bit of overkill for just QPass. I probably should have actually used Squawk Dirty, but whatever. It's a bit nicer sounding. I love the vector sequencer. I've got multiple other streams that I've done on it, and it's great. It's the only sequencer that I've stuck with for a long period of time. It does pretty much everything I could want it to do. Pretty much. The only real thing that I wish it had would be an ability to trigger the evolve or generate functions from an incoming CV signal. That would be fantastic. Because then you could create like automatically self-generating or automatically self-evolving patches, right? And just sit back and watch. That'd be great. This is one thing I need to work on skills-wise, I think, is how to get bass that's actually like really there, because right now that's... Oh. The answer, Paul, is to put up the volume so that it's not at like 25% volume. There, that was more like what I wanted. I'm not convinced by that sequence now, but that's sounding better. Does it sound like it's going out of... What is going on there? It sounds like it's going out of tune while being played. Weird. Yes. Yes, they are. Although, I mean, at least when it comes to mixers, at least you're more limited. Because, like, if you're talking about like a really extensive mixer, you really only have the performance mixer and the hex mix, right? Everything else is kind of like small pieces. A Eurorack sequencer list, huh? That would be interesting because there are a lot of sequencers out there, that's for sure. this is coming from part 4. Is that actually the right? Yeah, it is. Okay, good. Good, good. I'm trying to think what sequencers I've had. Obviously the Vector. I had a Pyramid at one point, which is like the non-Irac version of Hermod. I used just Marbles as a sequencer for a while. Crap, what else have I used? I used Tetrapad as a sequencer with some degree of regularity for sure, but it does so much. What else? I know I've had other sequencers. Oh, the Fluxus 1. Definitely would not suggest that. Fluxus 1 was a great concept, but is buggy, and at least the last I checked, the firmware hasn't been updated in a very long time to just bring in features that were supposed to be there. So, whoa, 100 HP? Yeah, that's crazy. What I plan to do with this mixer eventually, when I get another 104 HP, is WMD has a new module coming out called Scalpel, which is like a 4 or 6 HP stereo or dual mono multi-band EQ, which is like fantastic for mixing properly and whatnot. So I'm gonna get like a few of those because it doesn't take up much HP, and then you can pretty much EQ the hell out of everything, and I can finally start doing, you know, like not trying to use filters in different places to make room for the bass and so forth. So. Yeah, makes sense for the send and return. I mean, it's nice to have the aux sends on this for sure. It would be nice if they were in stereo, but I need to get the channels expander for this too, because I'm undoubtedly going to start having a lot more stuff in stereo. Although, I wonder if this is actually coming out in stereo now from the pedal. It's supposed to be able to do mono to stereo, so just a sec. No. Weird, I think I have the pedal set up weird. Let me just have a look at this. Feels like it's outputting dry on one end and effect on the other, which it's not supposed to be doing. Let's see here. Oh, I think I just lost my preset. Whoops. We'll go with this. This sounds interesting. There is... Where is the setting that says whether it's outputting both? Oh, the output's in stereo. Weird. I have to tweak with this a little more. I'm sad I lost that preset, whatever it was, because it was actually doing really good, but... Oh, it sounds set on Fasticate here. I think I can make it go back to what it was, or close. Just need to set it back to... a little closer anyway. Yeah, I've debated about what to put on the master out. I don't think I'd do muscle simply because I don't really see personally the need for compression in the music that I make. If I was making techno or stuff like that, then 100% I would, but an overseer, like same thing, like it's nice to have the frequency cut, but I'm not sure I'd ever use that on the whole track at once. But I don't know, what kind of music do you make? Yeah. Especially if you can get that, is it a new version they're releasing or something like that, where the channel expander's built in? That's nice. Because yeah, like, into the other channel, there we go. Right now it sounds to me like there's too much bass in the Odessa patch and it's blocking out. Yeah, let's see, because the pedal itself can actually has a filter in it, so you can like do a low cut. Drop the low levels on. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't have the ears for this. It's getting a little crunchy, which is kind of surprising. Making the pedal do too much. Yeah, Hex Mix was what I was going to go with before I found the performance mixer, because it is nice to have those like the built-in like VCAs like right at the mixer level, because you can technically do that with the performance mixer, but like the CV in for level and the faders behave like a real mixer, so they're like they have different responses at different levels, so you get a really weird sounding VCA effect on it. At least I found. If you like it, then it's great, but like. Alright, time for a new part here. It's clipping just this like slightest little bit. It's probably from the pedal. I'm gonna shove this through an attenuator. There we go. A little better. I feel like now this needs a sample. Even the one I did the other day would work actually pretty well, I think. Let's see. What have I got in here? Maybe not birds. Yeah, totally, right? I mean, the only real, if you really want and need all of these mixer pieces all together, I mean, you have to get an external mixer, right? I mean, that's what they're made for. But I would like my stuff to remain portable, so I'm willing to accept some limitations for the rack format. Warng Soundstage. That is a funny sounding one. Let's have a look, see here. Of course it wants to autocorrect for me. Oh, this, I've seen this. This is the like the quadraphonic, or like, yeah. You can like technically mix 5-1 in it or something like that, can't you? Certainly seen the panel before. No, it isn't actually. Placed in the stereo. Oh, I guess, yeah, you could simulate that kind of thing. Interesting. So Dirty, does that make it like, does it feel like you've got that virtual surround sound effect when you're patching stuff through that then, or like? It's just stereo, but it's like, even on their page they say that it places it in the stereo like landscape by like cutting certain frequencies and stuff like that, but I don't know if that has some effect, but okay. And you're right, I think that I now that I think about it, I think I did get that idea from DivKit. Well, my next thing that I've been replanning out my rack, like I said, to get another 104 HP and move this whole thing into a control skiff, basically. And then what's on my list coming up? Well, I've got a chord V2 coming in, which is actually, it was a tough decision, but you'll notice the Telharmonic no longer exists here. I have replaced the Telharmonic. I don't know why. I just, it wasn't gelling for me suddenly, and then I'm like, okay, well. Oh, and my Lo-Fi Junkie's gone too. I traded that for the pedal version because I never modulate it ever, so there was no point. I really did like it for certain things, but I just found, I think the thing that frustrated me the most was no matter how many times I'd used it, every time I wanted to patch something with it, I had to go grab the manual and figure out what the hell was going on again and what all the different colors mean and all this kind of stuff, and that just started to grate on me, I think. So that's why I went with the chord V2, because then at least I can still get that chord engine kind of thing that it's got going on there, but with additional interestingness and the ability to play a chord polyphonically from vector, stuff like that. So. Ah, you can trade it off the chord V2. How come? I'm gonna start putting some random chants into this because I like it when every once in a while I get an interesting note out of this. Let's go to part 1 and... Oh, actually, that's why I'm getting interesting notes, because I already have a ton of chants on this. No wonder. Yeah, so here, look. I think this is from my last video. I already put a whole ton of chants on at least one part of this. The other one doesn't have any, but we can... just give it some relatively randomly chosen. I've realized with the vector sequencer, I don't really like the just go up some amount at random chance and go down some amount at random chance. I like to just pick the amount at random, and at least it keeps it quantized and it feels more cohesive, I think, as a result. Let's go up like 6, sure. Okay, and then we'll 25% chance on everything. Actually, what am I doing? Super secret. This thing that I learned the other day. Okay, so that's part 2, and then we'll take part 3 and do the same thing. Ooh, not probability. Chance type. There's only one mode, the green one, that you could get good sounding stuff out of. I see. Uh-oh, that doesn't bode well for me because my music theory is pretty weak too. I'm required by law to use chance ups, right? Pretty much. Well, I'm sure that I will do another investigating experimentation stream like this when I get the chord V2 and see what I can get out of this, but I'm really happy with the sounds that are coming out of Odessa already, and I'm sure I don't understand how it works at all yet, so This became a much more complicated patch than I thought it would be. Oh yeah, I was experimenting with samples over here, wasn't I? That's conveniently in tune. What else have I got on here? Oh, that's kalimba. That would be a nice little thing to add in. Ooh, oops. Don't knock everything down. Of that, but I can't recall what it is. Model Seek 1, here it is. Wait, no, that's definitely not it. I thought you were talking about the Nerd Seek for a sec, which is something I had considered before Vector. The ability to control it with a Sega Genesis controller or whatever makes me laugh. I think rings, it depends. If you like the sound of rings, then yes, definitely. But, I mean, just be aware there's a lot of haters out there who are like, oh, rings, it's so cliched. I got some comment on my Rings into Clouds video about like, oh, why would you make this? It's the most cliched sound in modular, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, just be aware that some people are like rings haters for some reason. But if you like the sound, yeah, they're great. And like, be aware of the hidden modes that it has too. I've done a couple of streams where I go over the hidden modes and they're really fun. So yeah, I would be hesitant, to be honest, to actually recommend a nano rings, especially for tuning it. The little tiny knobs are a gigantic pain in the ass. If I could spare the rack space in my eventual plan, I would probably go back to using a stock rings, or if there's like a, I don't know, like a 2 HP reduced version of it or something like that, or one that doesn't use these micro knobs. Yeah, the rings mode on Plats, there's two of them, right? They're equivalent to the green and the orange mode on rings, just with a little bit less customizability, basically. But I found like I cranking up dampening on the green mode can give you some nice bass that at least I think. And then the orange mode, the inharmonic string mode, is really nice, especially if you put it through a bit of distortion, because then it sort of sounds like a distorted guitar. I've done a couple, if you look at my track Petrichor, the sort of distorted sound, I think if I recall properly, is that inharmonic strings mode on rings going through distortion. So. And you're right, Forstine, those people are no fun. Some people are stupid, what can you say? How big is your larger rack anyway, Dirty? just added in parallel another reverse reverb. That makes an interesting effect. Ah, the Eloquencer. I did own the Eloquencer, yes. That was my first like really major complex sequencer. At the time it was buggy as hell. That's why I got rid of it. Like button presses wouldn't register and crap like that, but I believe I saw that they have patched all that now, so grain of salt. Distortion-wise, I've been the Squawk Dirty, or not Squawk Dirty, the Milky Way actually has a really nice distortion on it. Or I mean, like, I think maybe even for that, oops, I might have just used this, like some crappy Tube Screamer Ibanez pedal. Just ran it through there. Buy some, you know, go on Amazon and buy a $30 distortion pedal, and you're probably good. 700 HP, oh my goodness. My absolute limit, I think, is going to be when I get that 104 HP skiff, because I've said this in previous streams, but I don't need to, but I've set this artificial barrier of as long as I can travel with it on a plane with my wife, then perfect, because she can take one 104, I can take the other 104, and the 7Us, and the little skiff I can just pack in a suitcase and be good. It's mostly my fault. Well, I'm glad to help out. Yeah, so the noise with Milky Way. They've released 3 or 4 patches since the initial version. The initial version was, yeah, if I had bought it and used it in the initial version, I would have tried to return it because it was insanely noisy. It is, I would say, noisier than a lot of my other modules, but it's not as noticeable as it used to be. So it depends on what level of fidelity you're looking for, I would say. I mean, I think that I am probably going to end up getting rid of it, but not because of the noise, mostly just because the effects aren't as inspiring as I'd hoped they would be, but yeah. I know that if I hadn't set that limit, I would have like gone out and got myself one of those Doper like monster wall case things and filled the whole damn thing, and that would have bankrupted me, so. Yeah, that's fair. Do you have a reverb that you like in Eurorack then, Dirty? Because like I was saying earlier, that's why I moved out to pedals for that, because there's nothing that really seems that great. Yes, I believe I recall that for a scene. I think you were mentioning that. And it's full, so what did you put in it? you guys, but shimmer reverb to me always sounds awful. I don't understand. Tasty Chips ECR1. Let's see. Oh, I think I have seen this. And I think I discounted the ECR1 just because it seems like such an absolutely gigantic module with so much space where there's nothing. I was like, I can't justify the HP for this. Yeah, the FX8, I've seen some demos recently where like it's almost indistinguishable between some of its reverbs and the stuff that the Big Sky can put out, which is fantastic for such an absolutely tiny module. Am I happy with the Rainmaker? Generally, yeah. I don't use the comb resonator as often as I feel like I should. I feel a bit guilty about that, but to be able to dial in a custom delay that's like an exact pattern that you want and panned in the way that you want and all this kind of stuff, it's fantastic for that. I don't think there's any real equal in that respect. I am probably also going to get a mimeophone just for a more generic, but well, not generic, but like less customizable but more easily made interesting delay. So Turing machine and pulses, RKBCEG and expander, primary oscillator, mute tangent quartet, over summer filter, entropy and monsoon. How do you like the monsoon? Because I've been considering whether I want to take my U-burst and upgrade into a monsoon, or whether I want to look at R-bar or something like that instead. If it has the actual Strymon algorithms in there, yeah, no wonder it works. But yeah, nothing grabbing you in terms of Eurorack reverb, that's pretty much where I'm at. But if you haven't already, yeah, definitely this here. I'll move it over so you can see. This is the RV500. It's a little menu divey. Won't focus properly, but like I'm running 2 reverbs with 2 delays simultaneously right now. Super cool. They also have a DD500 and an MD500 for delay and modulation respectively. I haven't played with either of them, but they're supposed to be just as powerful. That's good to know, Forrestine, because that's my exact thing with U-burst, is it's focus, come on. Yeah, it's hard to figure out what you're changing and tiny knobs and stuff like that. So yes, Parasites is 100% worth it. I would go on as soon as I got the module. So I was wondering about the Reverb 2 Alpha Stereo, but then I was like, oh, but it's mono. Yeah, I have so many stereo output things, and it tends to be a end of, like, reverb tends to be an end of chain thing. I'm just like, I don't know. Yeah, Zoya. That has been a debate for me for a while because it looks so cool, but it also looks so fiddly in terms of actually getting reasonable patches set up. But I was talking to another guy on another ambient channel the other day, and he was saying that, like, he doesn't even mess with the patches. There's just so many to download that are really cool that it becomes worth it at that point. So yeah, and if they're making a Eurorack version of it, So Typhoon is the one that's like has the supercell features or whatever, right? But it's like supercell features, but the Monsoon sliders and stuff, I think, right? Let's generate a new. But I mean, I suppose if you had a massive case and all the money in the world, you could always just run dual herb verbs to make it be in stereo. That'd be insane. The sliders light up, woohoo! Because you know, half of this hobby is really just about all the flashing lights. Yeah, okay. Yeah, smaller form factor Supercell. That's what I thought, because Supercell is freaking... I think Supercell is as big as Rainmaker. It's insane. So yeah, I kind of debate between that or whether I want to go with Arbar, because I think Arbar, from the demos I've heard, feels like it has an easier to use granular section, but then I also feel like I'd miss all of the other modes in Parasites. Alright, everybody. I think that is gonna about do it for me here. That was an interesting exploration, and I am very glad to have gotten some very nice sounds out of Odessa, so this is gonna be exciting to see what I can actually come up with in some tracks later on. But thanks everybody for dropping by. I didn't really expect to get so many people after switching platforms, but I guess it helps that there's lots of people that are on YouTube already, so yeah. I will be running some more of these. Like I said, I've got Chord V2 coming in, so I'll probably do another exploration of that at some point, and yeah, I'll try to work out a more regular schedule again, and we'll see where that takes us. So thanks everybody. Thanks for chatting. It's great to see you all. Yes, and you all be safe too. And I will talk to you all in a bit. Have a good one. Once I can figure out how you stop a stream on YouTube. Here we go. All right, cheers.